Williams, young thug. Now, right now, let's focus on the upcoming two witnesses the prosecution plans to call because the case is going to resume on Monday. Say it with me. Kenneth Copeland, that's Woody, Lil Woody. He's expected back on the stand Monday, restarting his testimony if he doesn't plead the fifth. But that is solely dependent on, quote, how he wakes up. That's what Lil Woody said. How he wakes up that morning will determine whether he testifies. He's a star witness for the prosecution. He's given past confessions to investigators about details in the murder of YSL gang rival Donovan Thomas, among other crimes. Copeland, who was facing felony charges, took a deal in exchange for this testimony and has got immunity. But that is only if he is truthful. But he hasn't really done much for the prosecution in the past.
Did you tell myself and my colleagues, Ms. Love and others, about Little D and Shannon being in your vehicle the night of the murder?
Huh?
Yesterday, did you tell myself, Ms. Love, and a few of my other colleagues that Little D and Shannon were in the car with you the night of the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I told you and them that what I told investigators in June when Nut got killed, something different, because I was trying to finesse my way out of a situation. So I said, I picked up D and Shannon. D never told me nothing. I made it up to clear myself up. And that's it.
Okay. And was that yesterday that you said that? Did you tell us that yesterday, what you just said?
You asked me to be truthful.
Okay.
And I didn't. And I told you what I told the investigator back then wasn't me being truthful. So I'm telling you something that I didn't tell them because I ain't trying to go back to jail.
I got it. But I asked you was yesterday, the first time you said this part, and now what you're saying today is what is truthful. What you're saying right now, what you're trying to tell the jury right now, is what you are now saying is truthful.
What I'm trying to tell you is our conversation was about something that I said in the past.
I understand. I'm asking you.
I asked that Mr. Copeland be allowed to finish his answer.
Okay, all right.
I'll tell you what's up.
Mr. Copeland, you need to finish your answers?
No, I need a break, Gunna.
Say again?
I need a break.
Right in that courtroom. The next witness for the prosecution is supposed to be Antonio Sledge, the alleged co-founder of YSL. Now, Sledge, you'll see him on the right. We see his picture here. He took a plea deal on a RICO charge and a firearms possession to avoid prison, and he got some probation. But, of course, he's also required to, among other things, sign off on statements that YSL is, in fact, a street gang and testify, in this case, about his and others' involvements in multiple crimes. Here's some of the arguments from yesterday regarding Sledge's statements coming into this case.
Prior statement he made in 2015, he's brought in regarding the ag assaults, and he is questioned, he's Mirandized, he gives a statement, he denies any involvement. He later pleads guilty.
Okay.
Or offered, I'm not sure. He pleads somehow, he resolves it short of trial. He's just denying being there. So I don't know under what circumstances that statement would be used to impeach any testimony. I suppose he acknowledges that he knows Mr. Zachary. So I guess if he said he doesn't know Mr. Zachary, I guess that could be used to impeach him. But it doesn't seem to be a statement that would be used to impeach him or would necessarily be played. His jail call, I've listened to it. It's essentially him. He had a preliminary, he was charged with the murder of Donovan Thomas by Detective Thorpe. The state has since determined that he is not responsible. He had a prelim where no probable cause was found. After the prelim, he calls his significant other. I'm assuming it's a significant other. It sounds like it from the context. And he basically talks about the testimony at the prelim. He speculates about who witness 1, 2, and they used codes in the prelim, witness 1, witness 2, witness 3. He speculates about who that could be. And he basically says, it sounds like witnesses 1, 2, or 3, and, or some combination of within those 3 people really threw Shannon under the bus.
Okay.
So he's commenting, he's speculating, he's commenting about testimony he heard from a detective about what witnesses told the detective, and is just giving his commentary. It sounds like people really threw Shannon under the bus. I have no idea why anything from that phone call to his significant other would be admissible in this trial. I don't foresee any situation where Mr. Sledge, I'm fairly confident, is going to say that he knows all these individuals. He knows Mr. Zachary very well.
Yeah.
He was charged in a separate crime and pled guilty to that crime with Mr. Zachary. But even then, I would, even if it became relevant for that, which I can't foresee any circumstance, I would strenuously object to him commenting on other people's testimony about a case that
I understand.
it's my client that he wasn't even present.
I mean, I understand. And it may be that, and I think even the state's saying, I don't know that there are circumstances under which we'd be able to get this in, this would become relevant. If there are such circumstances, then I would think that much less than the entirety of the phone call needs to be played, and we can limit it then. So maybe, Miss Love, if you are thinking, or it starts to look like you're going to need it, then if you can, get with the defense beforehand and y'all come to an agreement, understanding what my ruling then would probably be on what part would be relevant to that and what part wouldn't, instead of just, hey, I'm getting this whole 15 minutes in now. Okay.
Yes, I can do that. That makes perfect sense.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so you got 2 co-conspirators rolling over on those remaining defendants, Young Thug plus 5 others now in trial. Okay, that happens all the time, but I think this is a little bit odd. Luckily, I have attorneys Aaliyah Roberts, Katherine Lizardo still here with me. So, Aaliyah, one of the statements made from Copeland in his prior testimony, which this jury will forget, they will not remember it, says, I made that up to clear myself up. I mean, this guy's, he's an admitted liar. Why do you believe anything the guy says?
I think my favorite sentence was, I was just not trying to go back to jail. I was trying to finesse my way out of a situation.
Yes.
So finesse is kind of wiggle my way out. I'm looking out for me. I still don't understand. I said earlier this week that this trial is a big, beautiful mess, right? I don't understand why Kenneth Copeland is a key witness when he has said every time he opens his mouth, I'm lying, I lied then, I'm lying now, and I'll probably lie if I don't plead the fifth.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to jail.
Yeah, he's got it all figured out. So, Katherine, these are prosecution witnesses, although sometimes I scratch my head thinking, are they really? Do these folks understand that if they don't testify truthfully and fulfill their obligations under the plea deal, they got no plea deal?
Well, we're assuming that they understand that, and the judge's order actually indicated that we will reemphasize this to Copeland and for Sledge when and if he says that he's not going to testify truthfully or renege like what Copeland did. So he understands that Copeland does, I believe, because the former judge has already told him before when this whole debacle happened, when he pled the fifth while he was on the stand, that this will happen, your plea will be done, and will be over, you're going back to jail. But right now, it seems that's not enough of a threat for them, and they keep on pretending to be confused, but only to some extent. That's why Judge Whitaker issued that order that we will ask the jury if they can disregard some of his testimony, which is going to be difficult mentally for any reasonable person to do, and see what the jury will say. Because right now, assumption kill. That's what the judge is saying, essentially, that I'm hearing, that we cannot assume whatever Copeland and Sledge will say at this time. We can anticipate, and when any of you, defense and prosecutor, feel that they might say something that we cannot unring, please stand up and let me know, and we'll decide.
Right, good idea. Another good plan. Yeah, so that's Mr. Copeland, and of course he's testifying again, so they're going to muddy it, either what they heard before, what they hear now. And Mr. Sledge, not Sister Sledge, although the trial's not over yet. Maybe Sister Sledge will make an appearance. Another witness we're going to talk about when we come back. What about Mr. Zachary? Remember, we went through page after page redacting some of the information he provided in a police interview? We'll get to that. It's right after a break. Stay here.